Hello and welcome to Artha. When you first log in, you'll see your account overview page. You'll be able to see your accounts at the account level, the client level, and household level. We'll click into a household here so you can see the accounts that make up this household. You'll notice that you can assign particular clients to each account. You can see the entire value of each account, as well as the custodian and the advisor assigned. You'll notice a risk score in the final column here. We'll get into that later, but this has to do with our integration with nitrogen. Our integration with nitrogen allows us to look at the suitability of your client account strategies versus their risk tolerance. Let's click into a household. As we can see, the makeup of our household is here, all 5 accounts. We can also see the portfolio balance and the aforementioned risk score. We can scroll down and see our positions in aggregate here for this household. We can also toggle on our hierarchy to view each asset class and style, as well as investment vehicle per holding. We can go into an individual account in the household and begin assigning risk tolerances for each account here by taking a risk questionnaire that is linked to our integration with nitrogen. You can click the link and either copy the link and share it with your client, or open the survey here and run them through the questionnaire. Once completed, a risk tolerance score will populate here. The risk score here is the score of your account risk associated with your holdings. Our software reconciles the risk score of your account to the risk tolerance for your client for that account. The oversight occurs in our alerts management page here, where we can view the out of tolerance alert. We can see that account is alerting us to the fact that the account is deviating from the client risk tolerance. We can open the alert here, and we can see that the risk of the current allocation for the account exceeds the risk tolerance of the client. We can take action by clicking Change a Model, and we can go ahead and update to a more suitable strategy. And now we've updated our allocation to require this account to rebalance to a more suitable strategy here. Now that we've completed our review of the household overview page, we can toggle over here to performance. So here we can view performance through a number of different date ranges as shown above. We can also view the performance by account and at the household level as plotted out here on this performance graph. We can toggle off the individual accounts and just focus on the household. As you can see, we can compare our household to a benchmark. In this case, we selected the Spider S&P 500 ETF. We can select our benchmark above here. We can see the performance shown here. We can also see the risk return characteristics here. And we also have a graph of the upside downside return plotted out here. We can also see the risk return of each account and household versus the benchmark here to gain a better perspective of the risk paradigm of the account versus benchmark. We can view the trailing performance of each account and household here. And we can also look at the calendar year return as well. Now that we've completed our review of the household overview page, we can take a look at our model marketplace here. You'll see the name and brief descriptions of each strategy that we have in the marketplace. You can see the number of securities and the risk score associated. You can sort by these factors as well. Let's go ahead and sort by model name. You'll notice some information icons here, which will allow you to view the embedded fact sheets associated with each strategy. This provides you with information on its methodology, as well as its historical performance. Let's take a look at creating a blended model composite of strategies, which we can do here. Once we've shopped around in that marketplace and decided which strategies we want to build our portfolio with, we can select them here. Once we have selected the ones that we want to be a part of our model portfolio, we can begin entering weights here. Once you fill in all of the weights for your model portfolio, you'll begin to see a risk score associated with the model portfolio. You'll see the individual scores for each of the strategies here that make up the model portfolio. You can change the weights of these securities here to influence the risk score of the portfolio. Once you have found a suitable risk score for your model portfolio, you can give it a name and save it. Additionally, you can also create an individual model strategy here by entering individual securities here. Again, as you enter the weights of each security, as well as their drift parameters, you'll begin to see the risk score for this model portfolio fill. And again, you can play with these weights to influence this risk score to an appropriate risk score for your clients. If you already have a created portfolio that you want to upload into Artha, you can do that through our upload feature as well. You can simply upload the model here, download the template, and fill in the tickers, weights, drift, as well as the model name here. While looking at portfolio level performance against a benchmark is important, what's also important is evaluating the attribution of that portfolio performance. In Artha, we have portfolio attribution available in our dashboard. You can select a portfolio that you wish to evaluate against a benchmark. You can select your benchmark here and type ahead whatever preferred benchmark that you wish to select. In this case, we'll go ahead and measure this portfolio against the Spider S&P 500 ETF. As we can see, this portfolio is underperforming the benchmark, and we can see where and why the portfolio is underperforming the benchmark. We can look at it from the sector level here, or break it down by component level as well. You can sort by contribution to return and understand the leaders and the laggards of the portfolio. Again, we can see the relative detractors and the relative contributors to the portfolio. In this case, we can see what is causing the detraction of performance relative to the benchmark here. We have an array of time periods that you can select and evaluate the portfolio over those different time periods. Once we've updated the model to a more appropriate allocation, you can come to the rebalance page here, and you can see your current composition of your account and the new allocation of your account here. We'll be rebalancing out of these positions and into these positions, fully rebalance the client account to a more suitable strategy. We'll click rebalance, and we can go over and take a look at our trade list. And we can see all of our buys and sells here, our gains and losses shown here, our new allocations here. And once we feel okay about this trade list, we can go ahead and approve. Or if we don't feel that the trade list is appropriate, we can reject, which will send this back to the rebalance queue for review. But once we hit approve, this trade list will be sent to our portfolio trading team for execution. Another important tool that Artha provides is our tax loss harvesting tool. Here, we allow the advisors to come in and tax loss harvest for their clients at the client or household level. In this case, we're in our household with all 5 accounts. You can deselect any one of the accounts to not include it in tax loss harvesting. When you do so, it'll update the realized gain loss figure as well as the unrealized loss figure. In this case, we'll assume all 5 accounts for tax loss harvesting. You'll also notice long-term capital gains tax rates and short-term capital gains tax rates. You can edit these values and configure them specifically to your client's tax rates. In this case, we'll assume these tax rates. We'll notice that our $286,000 realized gain total is leading to an approximate $126,000 tax liability, or a 32 basis point drag on performance. We'll also notice that based on the assumed tax rates, our $430,000 unrealized loss total is giving us about $161,000 in total possible tax savings. Therefore, we can theoretically eliminate the entire tax liability shown here. We can do that by simply putting in a tax threshold of 0, which will tell the system to bring the client tax liability down to 0. However, if we did not have enough tax savings to reduce the entire tax liability, we'd simply increase the tax threshold by the difference. We'll go ahead and eliminate the entire tax liability here. As we can see, we're still left over with about $35,000 in tax savings for future harvesting. We can go ahead and review the list of securities that are being sold. As you can see, there are substitute securities being proposed in their place. Artha proposes substitute securities to hold during wash sale periods. You can customize your preferred substitute securities as well. You can also select to reallocate the proceeds into the rest of the model or hold it as cash. We'll go ahead and elect to use the substitute securities provided by Artha. You can simply click Trade Accounts when all details look good, and the trade list will be routed to our trading team.